This is what I'm going to model tonight. I first saw one of these in person when my daughter Lily was born, all right, or was conceived anyhow. And recently I saw another one, all right, and it's got a red line right there. This is just a picture from the internet that I'm using. So this is some special meaning for me, so I'm going to model it. The modeling is not going to follow this diagram exactly. This is just for a reference, especially when it comes to the holes. I'll show you what I'm going to do in order to make this look as nice as possible. So I'm in top ortho view in Blender. I've got cycles render on, so I can use GPU compute, and my screencast keys are on, and I'm going to go ahead and start modeling this. All right, so I'm going to go Shift A, Mesh, and bring in a plane. I'm going to go into wireframe, edit mode wireframe, and vertex. Make sure it's all selected, and I'm going to scale this in the X. I'm going to make sure that snapping is off. I'll be using that later. Okay, I'm going to grab these top vertices, box select the top vertices, and I'm going to pull them up to there. And the bottom vertices, and I'm going to pull them down to the bottom, roughly there for now. Okay, now this part is going to go off of the diagram to some extent, but I'm going to be using the grid. So I am going to turn on snapping, and this icon here. I'm going to bring in an edge loop and pull it up, and I'm going to snap it right there. I am going to use two grid units to show the sort of the size of the holes, and then I'm going to put a space, one grid unit in between, okay, so I can get these nice and even. So this area would be for these holes, and then a space, and then these holes will be this area for like that. So I'll show you what I mean. So it's going to go off the diagram for that. All right, that one went well. And then there's going to be a space, so it's snapping to the grid, and then the other ones are going to go up here, and then we'll adjust the size of this there. Okay, so hole with a space, hole with a space, hole. Okay, so now we'll do the vertical ones. Okay, so the hole will go in there, have a space hole there, space hole, like that. And then I'm going to have, I think, probably two. Let me just double check that. Okay, yeah, looks like two. Oh, not that. Okay, so if I've done this right, I've got three spaces on either side, or almost three spaces on either side. Okay, if I wanted to be a little bit more consistent, I suppose I could grab all of these right here and just snap them to there. So three full grids, spaces. And I could box select these ones and do the same on that side. Come on up. Okay, now I'm going to shut off the snap and that. Go to face selection. So I would select that one, that one, that one for the three holes like that. These three and these three. Okay, X and delete faces, just like that. Let's go back into object mode, and we can try subdivision surface of 2. I'll get these nice round holes that are evenly spaced and all. Okay, I'm going to turn that off for now. Let's go back. I'm going to turn on matte cap ambient occlusion and change to that shader. And I am going to turn off the grid floor. Okay, so So there's that. Let's go back into edit mode and wireframe. The next thing I'm going to do is this indent here. So I'm going to bring in an edge loop, and I'm going to bring it down to what I think is roughly the middle. Okay, roughly anyhow. And then I'm going to go Control B to bevel. I'm going to pull back until I've filled up that approximate space. And not click yet. Go up a little higher. Okay, Control B, pull to there. Don't click. Just roll my mouse up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm going to go 5. So that I've got a middle line right here. So I've got 1, 2, 3 there, and 1, 2, 3 there. I'm going to go into vertex selection and choose that one and that one, the two outside points on that middle line. I'm going to switch to proportional editing. I'm going to enable it. I'm going to choose sphere, and I'm going to scale in the X. I'm going to go SX, and I'm going to get a circle, and I'm going to start pulling in. But I'm going to change the size of that circle so that I'm only affecting those. All right, so I'm doing that kind of thing. All right, that's good enough. So I get that curvature, but the rest is still relatively straight. And I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to go Control R, and I'm going to bring an edge loop up to the top of this circular thing and to the bottom. And I think at the same time I'm going to have a look over here. I'll bring one in to the bottom of this. A little bit hard to see. Now this one, I think what I'll do is I'm going to go Control R. Maybe I'm going to be using, let me think for a second here. So it goes up to here. What I might do is I might select that and bring it up. No, turn off proportional editing. That's a good lesson. Bring it up to about there. All right. And I can scale this in the X a tiny bit. I'm going to hold down Shift. Hopefully I'll still get enough of a curve. I think I'll work on this part first. I might want to put a central one here. Be blocked by that. Nah, I don't think I will. All right, I'll come up to this one. I'm going to select this vertex, and I'll do the out ones first. This one and this one, and this one and this one. It's the approximate width I want, so I'm just going to scale in the Y. I'm going to do this kind of thing. Again, it's not going to match the diagram exactly. That's okay. I'll take these two, scale in the Y again a little bit, so I'll get this kind of effect. Okay, that's good enough for that. And I'll come down here, and let's see what we're going to do. This point and this point, this one and this one. I'm going to scale in the Y like that. And then, not going as well as I would have liked. This one and this one, this one and this one, scale in the Y. And we'll do that. Switch to face selection. Take all these and delete the faces. And for this one, all of these faces, including that one. Okay, there we go. All right, now I'm going to select it, to extrude, and I'm going to pull it down a little bit. I'll get out a wireframe so you can see. Okay, I get some discoloration because I went downwards, so I'm going to select it all, Control N to flip some of the polys. All right, so this is what I've got so far. Now I'm going to go back into edit mode, and in edge selection I'm going to shift alt and click that edge, and I'm going to have to do it a few times to go all the way around on the top and the bottom. There we go. I'm going to look at it in top view. I'm not going to look at the diagram that much, but I'm going to switch over to individual origins, and I'm going to start scaling each of these sections, but sort of individually. So scaling the X, I'm going to pull in like that. And that part works okay anyhow, but I really need individual origins for when I scale in the Y. I want this piece to come down and that one to go up, but I want this one to come down and that one to go up, so I have to do it in individual origins. You'll see, scale in the Y, I'm going to pull like that. Okay, now this area here, yeah, you know what? It's not that bad. It's a little bit troublesome, but I think it's okay. So I'm going to get out of individual origins now and go back to median point. All right, and before I show you with the subdivision surface, let's just go ahead and add an edge loop here. Actually, before I do that, even we'll bevel all of these. Shift Alt and click all around these what look like squares, but they're going to be circles. I want to bevel this, make it a little bit smoother, even with the subdivision surface. So it's pretty easy to select these, holding down Shift and Alt, but I'm having to click all of the sides. I'm only going to do the top, I'm not going to do the bottom. All right, Control B, pull back. 1, 2, make it a little bit smaller than that. Okay, that's good. Let me show you what that looks like with the subdivision surface on. So far, so good. All right, I'm actually I'll leave that on, and I'll do Shift Alt and I'll click this upper edge all the way around. Okay, I'll do that one, and I'll do this one. So Shift and Alt, and I'm clicking a number of times to get it all. Okay, just like that. I'm going to hit End, open up the side panel. I will be putting edge loops in, but I'm going to come up here to edges data, and I'm going to increase the mean crease to about 0.7 or so. Let's have a look at that, close that. And that'll sharpen that up a bit, okay, but that's not all we're going to do. Let's get rid of that for a second. Come in here, I'm going to put another edge loop there, and another, not that, and another edge loop down there. And I'll do that over here as well. Control R coming up, and again, Control R coming down. Okay, let's go ahead and look at that subdivision surface. We're also going to come in here and go Control R, and I'll slide it over to there. Control R, and I'll slide it down to there. Do the same on the other side. Slide it down about there to about there. You know, by the way, we can turn on smoothing and then start to get a sense of what this is looking like. Okay, I'll do the same thing here just to sharpen it up a little bit more. And then, yeah, I'll just put it in here. One there, one there, here, and here. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, let's do a little bit more here. I can go ahead and put an edge loop down here. Just pull it down. Before I do anything on the side, let's have a look at the diagram and wireframe. You may not be able to see it underneath that. Let's see if I'll just hide everything. It curves up like this. All right. So the way I'm going to do that is, let's get back to that. Come in on say 3 on the side view. I will go into wireframe and vertex, and I'm going to throw in an edge loop there and up here. Okay, so I can have those there to use, and I'm going to box select all of these, and I'm going to hide everything else. So I'm going to go Shift H to hide everything but what I'm using. Okay, so top view. Did I manage to hide it? Yeah, I'll hide it, hit it there. Okay, there we go. wireframe, I'm going to box select these top vertices here and enable proportional editing again, and I'm going to start to pull like this. I didn't want to affect the circles, okay, so I can play around with the curvature like that. But that's generally what I want, and then I'm going to go Alt H to unhide everything else, and there I haven't affected my circles. Okay, I didn't pull on them because I hid them. But what I'll do now is I'll put a little bit more space by box selecting, and I'll turn off proportional editing first of all. I'll just pull it up like this. Okay, so it's not going to match the diagram exactly, but I can compensate for that. All right. So now I have that curve up there. Now I can go ahead and put in some edge loops on the side. It's really the top one that matters the most. The bottom one is going to be hidden in the next piece, but you'll see what I mean by that. So just have a look at how that's looking. It looks pretty good. I don't think I need these any sharper. I'm fine with that. And that's the hard part right there, pretty much. So go to the top view, and I'm going to go Shift A and bring in another plane. Edit mode, wireframe. Let's scale this in the X out to there. Let's make sure proportional editing isn't off, which I think it was anyhow. I'm going to box select these top ones, and I'm going to bring them up. I'll tell you what, I'll go a little bit past where it was because we brought this up to curve it, so just to give a little bit more room. All right, and I'll box select these ones, and I'll bring them down here or so. And we'll select it, E to extrude, we'll bring it down a ways like that. For now, Control N because I flip the polys. Let's bring the whole thing down so that this piece is just like that, maybe even up higher, and it's very thin. All right, like that kind of thing. All right, and then what we'll do is we will what will we do? Well, we can go ahead and do the subdivision surface, and you'll see how that affects it, and then we'll play with that. Okay, so Control R, and we'll pull one up near the top and near the bottom. Right side and left side. Do these ones, that one, and this one. I'll come out for a second and put on smoothing. Okay. That's okay. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want some space here, so I'm going to go Control R, and I'm going to bring an edge loop underneath this area here, so it's not seen, and underneath that area there. I'm not going to worry about this piece here. I'm going to do another one right here, just about there, and there, and there. What did I just do? Not that. And there. I'm going to face selection. I'll select that face and that face. X faces. Okay. Now in reality, if we hide that, I get circular holes, but because that's not hidden, we'll never know. You just see a space. Okay. And now I'll select that piece there, and in edge selection, find a nice edge right at the bottom there. I can select that piece right there. That's pretty good. And I'll go Shift S, cursor to selected. Go back into object mode, and I'm going to bring in a plane right there. I'll pull it down a little bit, so I'll go about there. Okay, that's fine. Shift D, I'm going to copy it right now, and I'm going to bring one down to there. Okay, now all I have to do is in wireframe mode, look and see where the line is supposed to go. Oh, and by the way, I mean, they don't have to be that wide if I don't want them to be. Let's see, can I select the other one? Select that one and that one, and go into edit mode. Oh, yeah, they're not the same object, so okay, never mind. We'll do one at a time, and then we'll scale in the X. I mean, it could be right underneath there. That doesn't really matter. Anyhow, I'm just going to put in an edge loop right about there, and one right about there, and I'll put a line down here under the test area. All right, so I don't know exactly where. I'll just do it there. Oh, I can move these and there. Shift Alt and click that one, and I can bring them both down. Okay, so now I can select those faces and color them when I'm ready to do that. And for this one, let's go back into edit mode and wireframe and scale this in the X as well. That's fine. And it's just this blue region here, so I just need an edge loop right there, really, and color all the rest of it blue. I mean, it doesn't have to be that big. If you don't want it to be that big, you can, you know, shorten these things up as long as it fits underneath there. Okay, so that's good for the time being. So we could go ahead and do some really simple. I'm just going to render this in the viewport. So as far as materials go, I'm just going to use that, and we'll do a red one, and come into settings and viewport color, choose that red, and we need a blue color as well. So something like that. Okay, so we have all the colors. So then just make sure that matte cap is turned off under shading. And you can decide if you want to keep on ambient occlusion. I don't think it's going to look as good. Usually I do have it on. So this whole area is going to be just white. And that's going to be just the white as well. All right. And then I'm going to select that. That's also going to be white. All right. I'll go in and grab these two faces there. And they're going to be that red sign. Okay, just like that. And this part, it's also going to be that white. But that this area up there is going to be the blue, the sample area, where you put the urine there, test it. Okay, so this is what I've got, and now we'll just put a little bit of text on it. I just want to make a decision about that height. Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go Shift A, and we'll bring in text. Come over to the text area and choose center, and go over my fonts, press this so I can look at them, choose a font that looks alright. I don't know, maybe this one, I don't know, and HCG, and we'll scale that. I'll make that one a nice big one. This, by the way, is going to be white, and closer. All right, back to the fonts, and we'll increase the depth, resolution a little bit, and a little bit of extrusion. So it looks something like that. And then we'll just copy this, Shift D. I'll bring it over here. And then C for control. I'll just make that smaller. Okay, C for control, Control D, and this is T for test, capital T, and then down here, Shift D. I'm going to just change that right now. This is for the sample, and then I'll have to adjust the position of that because it's going to come up and over here. That. Let's have a look. Yeah, something like that. We could change the position to there. There you go. Test is positive.